in JavaScript. So we're using Rebel, and here we have the single file as usual. So data type is the type of your variable. So let's create, we already had, so we said let name is equal to Nasser, and said let age is equal to 23. Now nothing happens. Now if I console log, you already learned. Now you could console log the type of these different variables. So if I say, for example, type of, so it'd be type of name. Let's save this. Now we have a string. So name is a string. Whatever a string means. If we have a type of age is a number. So you have a multiple data types. Now what this means is you can do certain things. For example, if I do name plus 20, I get Nasser 20. So I just added the two things. But if I say age plus 20, now I have 43 because I added the numbers. Now if I do it like this and I save, now it just added, so it has 23, and then after 23, 20. So strings are basically what you would think about. The name, the paragraphs, the text is called a string data type, and a string text codes around it. So you could have a single or double quotes. I personally prefer the double quotes, but you could use a single quotes or double quotes. But numbers don't tag anything. Numbers you just read as they are. So here, when it sees like this, so actually I'm going to go back to the type of, actually I'm going to have another console log here. Let's just say console log type of age. So now we said it's number, and then it did the operation. So 23 plus 20, that's 43. But if I put the quotes around it, now it's going to think it's a text instead of a number. So if I saved it, if I run this, now it says it's a string. And it added them. It's called concatenation. It just added the two text after one another. So that would be the main difference between a number, and that's why you should basically write numbers without the parentheses, without the quotes. Now there are many other things, other data types we'll see later. What is called Boolean. So for example, Boolean would be, let's say, true. And Boolean console log, just say actually I'm gonna just copy this, don't have to write that. Then if I say type of flag, that is Boolean, and the Boolean is basically, it means true or false. So something is either true or something is either false. So a lot of times you just care about if something, for example, is person active now or no, is person logged in or no. Now, when you're trying a choice that it's true or false, then you use a Boolean data type. So this is not a string, this is a Boolean data type. And when you're writing the Boolean data type as normal, you don't put a string, you don't put quotes around it, then it would become a string. So if I do this, now we'll have a string here, right? Now it's saying, oh, it's a text. But we're saying, hey, it's not a text, it's a Boolean. And we could also do false. And that's the only two possible values for a Boolean. There's another one called erase, and it'd be like names, for example, and it'd be, could have James, Nasser, Sam. Now let me do the same here, and let's say type flag of names. If I save this, now it would just say object, because arrays and objects are very, very close. But in this case, this one is called, it's a list, right? It's a list of names. That is called array. Then you can say, array. You can ask, is it array? So if I put names, we'll say, it said Boolean because it received true here, which means it's a Boolean, and we're getting the type of the Boolean. So if I just save that, now we see it's true. So this is array. because we're saying is array. Now if we say is name array, then it would be false. Name is not an array, so it would be false. So that would be an array. An array basically means it is, let's see, names. Array is a list. It's a list of names, and we'll learn more about it. Now, why would we care about these names? For example, the names give you certain abilities. For example, let me see. Let's just say every data type has certain powers to it. It has certain things that others can't do. For example, in list called names, we could push, which means add. We could push another name called no-name. It's a great name, by the way. If I save this, now we see change stem, and then we see no-name. So you have a different actions that you can take against the boolean, against the number, against the string, against the list or the array. There is another data type that I want to discuss. It's called, let's say, John, and it's called object. And what object basically is, let's see, be John, and the age would be 20. Let's just say 20. Country be US, and let's see, right? So here, a John is a way to represent an object is a way to represent an entity. So now we have a John, and then we represent John, his name, his age, his country. We could have as much information as we want. This data type is called object. So if I console log here, I'll just change this. I need to change it to John. I save this. Now that would be object. There is one more data type. If I say value, then I don't give any value. Now what the hell is value? We don't have any data type. So it's like, what data type is this, right? Because we don't assign anything. And if I check that, as you guessed it, it would be undefined data type. It's like we don't know. So the data type name is undefined. So it means we don't have value. Now, if you have an empty value, so let's say, for example, country, or like say just country, and I do that. Now the data type of a country would be, as you guessed, a string, but it would just be empty. We have the braces. So that's all the data types that that you're most gonna meet, like almost all of the time. This is all you're gonna work with, and we'll get more into individual data types. And something specific about variables in JavaScript is you can change the data type of a variable. So for example, let's say a country right now is a string, right? But I could assign the country to 20. So if I run this again, I want to comment out all this. So if I run this, the country is a string, right? Because we have a string here. So it's like, oh, this is a string data type. Then we change the data type to 20, which makes it a number. So now when we run again, it's a number. Now you cannot do in Java or other programming languages, you cannot do that. But in JavaScript, you can do that, which is both good and bad. We will see certain scenarios later. So that's all I wanted to talk about in this video. See you in the next one. Bye.